Hello grade 5. In this lecture I'm going to revise what we have learned last week, which is decimals and how do we write them in word form. And I'm going to continue our lesson where I'm going to explain how do you write a decimal number in expanded form, and we are going to change a decimal number into a decimal fraction and vice versa. So first of all, what are decimals? Decimals are numbers that are less than 1 but greater than 0. Also, decimals are numbers that are greater than 3 but less than 4. Can you think about a number, or can you think of a number which is greater than 3 and less than 4? Of course, you're not going to have a natural number, a whole number. We're going to get a decimal number. So as I told you, a decimal number, it's a number that's greater than 0 and less than 1, or greater than any number, for example 5, but still less than 6. You're going to see that in this number, this decimal number, we have a point. We call it the decimal point. Everything to the left of the decimal point is the whole number, and everything which is to the right, it's the decimal part. So everything to the left is the whole part, and everything to the right is the decimal part, and of course they are separated by a decimal point. Let us take an example like 39.1. 39.1, it's a decimal number which is greater than 39 but still less than 40. So 39.1, it indicates that I actually have 39 and 0.1. Okay, so it's a number which is greater than 39. How can I read this number? You have two ways to spell this number. You can say 39.1, or you can say 39 and 1/10. Tenth. We're going to talk about this, and we are going to explain how can I write this number in word form. So let us start. You have to pay attention very well. As I told you before, everything to the left of the point, it's the whole part that you already know. It starts by ones, tens, hundreds, 1000s, 10,000, and so on. While everything to the right, it's the decimal part, and it starts with tenths, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Can you see this DHS here? I'm going to go back for something we have learned in the previous lesson. We used to say that if I have 2 out of 3, so less than 1, do you still remember? It was less than 1 because the numerator is less than the denominator. We used to say that this is 2/3. If I have 7 over 5, we used to say that this is 7/5. Okay, so do you still remember this TH? Keep it in mind, because later on we'll talk about this this number, okay? But you have to know that everything in the decimal part should have THS at the end, but there is no ones, okay? So keep in mind that we start by tenths, which is the first digit after the point, the hundredths, which is the second digit after the point, thousandths, it's the third digit after the point, and 10,000ths, it's the fourth digit after the point. You can see that the 3 in the hundreds column, it indicates that we have 300ths, right? If all the other numbers were 0, then the number would be 300. Okay, it's 300.000, it's 300. So you can see that any number, I'm going to talk that, suppose you have 5, you can express 5 as a decimal number by just putting 5.0. So 5.0, it's actually 5. So you have to know that those are useless. 0.0 is useless. So it goes back to say that this is 5. Also, the 7 in the hundreds column, if every other number were a 0, then the number would be 700ths. Now I'm going to explain how do we say the decimal number in word form. So to read a number we have steps. The first step is to read the whole part number, which is to the left of the point. So the first thing you have to do is to read the whole part as you used to do before. Then after that, where you see the decimal point, you can say and. Okay, so the point, we are going to express it as and. Then you have to read the decimal part. But after reading the decimal part, you have to say the column name where the last number is, whether it's in the tenths, it's the hundredths, it's the thousands, and so on. Let us take an example in order to understand what we are trying to say. For example, look at this number. This number is 20.045. If I want to apply the steps, the first thing I have to do is to read the whole number. What's the whole number? It's 20. So we write 20. And I told you, instead of the point, you have to put and. And then you read this number. What's this number? It's 45 only. Okay? But you have to pay attention that you have to say the column where the last number is. 0, it's in the tenths. 4, it's in the hundredths. 5, it's in the thousands. So after saying 45, you have to say thousands. That indicates the last number is in which column. You have to know also that 0.2 is the same as 0.20. It's the same as 0.200 because in all cases it's 0.2. So this 0 is useless and this 0 is also, those zeros are useless. So the zeros that are to the right of the number at the end are useless. But if we want to say if you want to tell it in word form, this is 0.2, so it's 2/10ths only. 0.20, it's 20 hundredths, but in all cases you're going to get 0.2. Okay, so let us say that the steps are: you read first the whole number, the point you replace it by the word and, then you read the decimal part as it is, followed by the column it reaches. Now let us apply some exercises in order to get the idea. So what numbers are these? So I already gave for you the word form, and you have to tell me the number, okay? The first one is done for you. So it's 3 and 200ths. Whenever you see the word and, indicates that we have here a point. So everything to the left, it's the whole part, and everything to the right is the decimal part. What do I have in the whole part? I have 3. So this is 3 point. They said that we have 2 hundredths. So the only thing that I have is 2 in the hundredths. So 0 is the tenths, or the tenths digit is 0. Look how do you do this. 40 and. So this is the point. You put directly a point above and to indicate that here I have here's the location of the point. What do I have before the point? I have 40. So it's 40 point. Point what? If you read the number, I have 2000. 1000 means I passed through the tenths, the hundredths, and the thousands, and I only have 2 in the thousands. So those are zeros. That's how you do. Let us continue. 12 and 12 hundredths. So you directly put a point above the end. What do I have just before the point? 12. So this is the whole part, which is 12 point 12 hundredths. So from the word hundred, this is a key word because it indicates that I have only 2 digits here, the tenths and the hundredths, and I have 12. So this is 12, and we are done. Let us take the last example. I have 80 and 80 10,000s. So this is the point. What do I have before the point? I have only 80. So this is 80.80 10 thousandths. What's 10 thousandths means? I pass through the tenths, the hundredths, the thousandths, and the 10 thousandths. And I have only 80 10 thousandths. So I have to put 80 like this, which means every empty place is filled with 0. Okay, let us continue. So now in question number 2, I have the numbers, and I need to write them in word form. The first one is done for you. So as I told you, you read the whole part as it is. Here I have 37. You replace the point by and I have 3. Where is the 3? In the hundredths. The same thing we're going now to do. So I have 9. Here I have 9. Okay. Instead of the point, I'm going to put and 9 and. What do I have? I read the decimal part. I only have 4 in the decimal part, but I need to tell that the 4, it's also in the hundredths digit. Okay, and that's how you do that. Let us continue. I'm going to do them orally. Okay, so you read the whole part. In the whole part I have 20. Instead of the point we're going to have and. So 20 and 40 what? Let us count. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So 40 thousandths. Okay, let us look at this. Here we have 100 and 1. And 1 what? 100ths, because it's in the hundredths digit. Okay, I wish that you got the idea. This is the only thing we're going to explain for this week. It's just how to write the numbers in word form and vice versa. Let us look at this exercise. Which of these are true? Let us check if these are true or not. Is 2.01 the same as 2.010? Of course, because this 0 is useless. All the zeros that are to the right are useless, so this is true. 2.001, it's the same as 2.100? Of course not, because the 1 here actually it's in the thousandths, while the 1 here is in the tenths. So of course not, this is not true. 2.10, is it the same as 2.100? Of course, because those zeros are useless. So 2.1 is equal to 2.1, so this is true. Now we have 2.01. Is it equal to 2.001? Of course not. We already explained this, because here the 1 is in the hundredths, while here the 1 is in the thousandths. So of course they are not the same. Let us see D. I have here 2.10, while here I have 2.10. But don't forget that the 10 here it's in the thousands, while the 10 here it's in the hundreds. So this is not true. And here we go for the last one. Let us see, this 0 is useless, so 2.001, it's the same as 2.001, so this is true. So that was our lesson. Actually, we have more objectives, but I just splitted them. This is the objective that we are going to take this week. Next week, we're going, of course, to continue about decimals for more objectives. And now I'm going to explain how do we write a decimal number in expanded form. First of all, you have to write the number that appears before the decimal point, which is the whole part, in expanded form. Then, for decimals, you place a 0 in the ones place of the whole part, which, for example, 0 point something, and you substitute zeros for all spaces after the decimal point that come before the digit that you are working with. Just an example to understand what we are trying to say. Here we have the number 13.361. We need to write it in expanded form. So the first thing you have to do is to write 13 in expanded form. It's 10 plus 3. You know this. It's 10 plus 3. Then I'm going to start with the decimal part. When you start with the decimal part, you start using 0 point something. So 0.3, then 0.03. So you have 6 is in the hundreds, so you need to place 2 zeros. and 1 is in the thousands, so you need to put it plus 0.001. Okay, let us solve some exercises about it. So here we have 1.07, and I need to write it in both expanded form and in word form. First of all, in expanded form, as I told you, you start by the whole part as it is, which is 1, and 1 plus 0.07. In word form, this is 1 and 7/100ths. Now we have already the expanded form, and I need to write it in standard form. Here I have 3 in the hundredth, 6 in the thousandths, and 9 in the 10,000. So it's 0.0369. And in the word form, this is 369 10,000ths. Again, more exercises. We need to write the following. It's already given in the word form. We need to write it in standard form and in expanded form. So first, the standard form. It's 14 and 800. So 14 is the whole part and 800 is the decimal part. So it's 14.08. In expanded form, it's 10 plus 4, which is the whole part, plus 0.08. Another example, write each decimal in standard form, expanded form, and in words. Or we already have it in standard form, it's 1.12, so we need to write it in expanded form. So the whole part alone, which is 1 plus 0.1 plus 0.02, because the 1 is in the tenths and the 2 is in the hundredths. In the word form, this is said as 1 and 12 hundredths. Now we have 0.6 plus 0.08, 0.008 and 0.007. This is written as 0.6800, sorry, it's 6087, because 6 is in the tenths, we don't have hundredths, we have thousandths and 10,000. And in word form, this is written as 6087. You read the number as it is, but you have to tell me in which column did you reach, which is the 10,000s. More examples. Write each decimal in standard form and in expanded form. You already have it in word form. It's 11 and 200. So it's in the standard form, it's 11.02. In expanded form, it's 10 plus 1 plus 0.02. Now we need to write in standard, expanded, all the forms. We have 8.0342. We read the whole part as it is, which is 8. Instead of the point, we put and. So it's 8 and 342 10,000s. And that's how we write it in decimal, the expanded form. I advise you to practice these alone. So just pause the video and then check your work. I wish you pause the video, and now these are the answers. Just practice them alone. And also here you have a lot of exercises, multiple choices. You should know 3.0727, what are the correct forms, whether in expanded or a word form. So also I advise you to practice them alone, then check your answers. And here we have this exercise also. Okay, so practice them alone, please, then check your answers. Now we go for the last thing we need to know in this lesson, which is how to convert fractions into decimals or decimals into fractions. First of all, this is a fraction. It's 2 over 10, which means the 2 is in the tenths place. So if you look at the column, we only have 2 in the tenths, so this number is 0.2. Okay, so what we have in the denominator matters. If we have 10, then it's in the tenths. If we have 100, it's in the hundredths. Let us see this one. Here we have 23 over 100, which means we have 2 3, yes, 2 in the tenths and 3 in the hundredths, so this number is 0.23. So as much as you have in the denominator zeros, you'll have numbers in the decimal part. So here we have 2 zeros, then I will have 2 digits in the decimal part. We have here 567,000, so it's 0.567. And now we have 4,000 only, so I only have 4 in the thousands place. So it's all the empty places are filled with 0, so it's 0.004. And now if I have a decimal and I need to write it as a fraction, I only have 4 in the tenths, so it's 4/10. I have 35 in the hundredths, so that's why it's very important to say the column, because when you know the column, you're going to know the denominator. Now here we have 728, so you write 728 over 100. That's to indicate that 2 zeros means 2 digits in the decimal part, so it's 7.28. The last example is 0.8, it's 8 in the tenths. 0.04 is 4 in the hundredths, and 3.36 is 336 over 100, because I have 2 digits in the decimal part. That was our lesson. So how do we write a decimal number in 3 forms: word form, standard form, and expanded form. And then we learned how do we convert a fraction into a decimal and a decimal into a fraction.